I guess you can put this up on the Kal Kat Show channel. It's a Kal Kat Show character. Not really a toy show. It wasn't a toy show. The Kal Kat Show. Put it up on the Kal Kat Show channel. We have an update. 10 years later of Tim Cantrell, Tim in his prime from the series, the Mush, the Starcrackers, and whatnot. There was a cast meeting of the cast of Starcrackers, a reunion cast of Starcrackers from 2014. Literally, that's what kind of happened. Yeah, so the cast of Starcrackers was on hand to celebrate their anniversary cast thing, and I put it up as a screensaver right here. Here we got Kal Kat, Marx Cards, and Tim in his prime. So yeah, they can see what my screen looks like and hack my computer with your magical powers. That doesn't work like that. It's not how hacking works. But yes, so we have, we got Tim wearing the X-Men regalia, sporting a fetching 90s style cowboy hat. And the car keys around his neck. We've got and the kid backpack because he was losing it. They showed up at about the kid was losing it. They showed up at about 12:30, and Marx Cards and I are there at the mall. It was at the mall, so we did the story at the mall where we shot some videos, famous videos in the past. We shot that the mall was used in at least 2 music videos, not 3. The parody. It wasn't a thrift shop parody. Thrift shop came later. It was an Eminem parody. Love the sales you buy. Parody down at the mall. Also, there was a parody of Love the Way You Lie. And then there was another one that was after the COVID. It was Everyone is COVID, but I think there was one in between there somewhere. There was a middle one. At least 3 music videos, I think. 2016, we filmed a scene of from the horror movie, the Mousetrap Project 4, I think it was 3 or 4, one of those, where we went in there, got to film them all as well. And then the 2019 one was just using footage that had already been shot. Yeah, the remake of that was the footage that had already been shot. And then Everyone is COVID. Everything is awesome parody. Everyone is COVID. Ours is better than the other one that's out there. Ours is funnier. It's done in the mall. Yeah. Ours has a reference to Mask, the TV show in it, so that makes it automatically better. So here we are, the cast. 3 days after Uncle Bill in Duluth, Minnesota died. It's the boat builder uncle guy that I've seen off and on in my adulthood, but mostly in childhood from years ago. And yeah, that wasn't mentioned there. We just found out afterward. I'll have to dedicate the next movie project, whatever it is, to him. So that'll be cool. The next one, Canary Space. So let's, so back to that. Yeah, so builds boats, wooden boats. I build wooden models, so it's kind of similar, but yeah. But yes, Tim does not build wooden boats, although he was known for doing some of the art designs, art backgrounds on Transformers Big Robotech, and some art sculptures when we took our art sculpture class in the 1990s. I think it was 1990, 89 or 90. And there was a stuck-up art lady there that was visiting that criticized everybody's artwork, no matter what it was. Barely started criticizing all the artwork. Now, little did she know that Tim's artwork there would end up influencing a vast 6 years long Transformers, if not 10 years long, Transformers fan film series, as well as you could say Star Trek Chimera and Starship Locations as well series. So those two from from at least 2014 to the present. Yeah, if you count the other stuff from, it inspired Trans Tech, that first one. It inspired Trans Tech and Space Bridge and all the sequels that are referenced in the 2014 clip. Yeah, so he referenced all of them. Of course, Kal Kat is the one that actually took, because I have more of an eye for art than he does. So I changed it a little so they could be used as sets. But I'm the one that painted them, but he was the one that inspired them and said, okay, do this, do that, make this look like that. And this thing. Yeah, there's a specific. I'll show you the piece. Actually, I have one that's because they were referenced in the other. They were referenced in the video, so I didn't show them. But I have since moved, so I put them up on walls and things. Let's see, we've got. Where's the other one? What did I do with the other one? Anyway, some of the figurines from the '90s. They're in the dark there. Yeah. So there's the anthill boulder, the chick on the beach. There's the cat guy in the background. Some of the other stuff, the V, some other stuff. There's the butterfly. Anyway, the Space Bridge wall, which was mentioned, that's actually in here. That is the major piece. That is the floor of one of the Trans Tech set where Cheetor's Primal stood on at the Oracle. That was mentioned. I was going to show him it again, but he wasn't. He couldn't come over here. But there it is on the wall, mounted. There's the family portraits and stuff. A lot of fun things in here. But yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff. Technically something Jim did, not Tim. Jim took on symbol thing. I liked that they used Trans Tech Jim took on symbol as Megatronus' symbol in Transformers 1. I was like, oh, there's our symbol right there. Sort of the Decepticon symbol with wings. It's like, so they know our claw marks from Trans Tech. The guy's aware of us. Somehow. Oh, well, the people that made that cartoon were clearly watching our fan films for like 3 or 4 years. Just watching them, for inspiration. Because, yeah, Tim didn't have anything to do with designing this movie, but certainly looks like he's inspired. Certainly looks inspired. So, yeah, on the mall, we have, it was Tim and Annie and his 8-year-old son, Daniel Sullivan. It's a typical hyperactive 8-year-old. Nothing unusual, really. You were either hyper or you weren't, back in the day, so it's all good. So it's fine. And so we have So we met and at the mall and discussed various topics and things, ranging from the Transformers, although Marx Cards has not seen Transformers 1, so there wasn't much on that, but some of the earlier ones, Prime and the others. Transformers is a main influence of the Minions to begin with. The original 86 movie, that kind of thing. A little bit of Transformers Prime. I don't know how much Marx Cards or John has actually seen of the Transformers cartoons after G1. I know he's seen the Michael Bay movies. He's seen all of them at this point. With probably the exception of... you've probably seen Age of Extinction too. Yeah, I've seen them all. The Last Night was playing several times. You got to see that. Like, oh, that was bad. We talked about that. There was... the Unicron is not in the Earth. That makes no sense. I know that's in Transformers Prime too, but that makes no sense. So yeah, there's all these different Transformer things. Discussed the last toy show we went to, and it turns out, I looked that up, and yes, indeed, it was the last official announced Tim toy show was 2012. It was the Yvonne Craig one. It was one of the very first videos on the On Location Cat channel, which was rebranded from the other On Location Cat channel, which had been taken over by hackers in 2012. So it's one of the ones that they brought over there, imported all the Kal Kat show and re-downloaded it there. And that's where Starcrackers started, and series and all that. And they have the main one. So yeah, at this point, over those years, everything got re-imported and reloaded. So it's weird because the Kal Kat show was technically in its final season, 2014, 2015, and the videos all disappeared for the first 4 seasons until they were re-uploaded in 2014. So it's like, oh, it didn't really start in 2000. Yeah, we did start in 2009, but somebody messed up the first early channel, so it's just not there anymore. We have what's left of the 21 here, the 2011 one. That's the Read Kitty 07. That's the SAP channel. Took that back years ago. That's an earlier one, but it didn't have as many of the Kal Kat show videos. It was just reviews. So it was channel 2, basically, with reviews. It has since taken off, and it's where the main fan films and trans tech and all that have gone since then. It was carrying trans tech mainly. Trans tech original 24 episode series is on there, and all subsequent sequels have gone on there. Yeah, so yeah, it's been kind of off to the side, part of that, inadvertently on the channel. That I'm a YouTuber. I was also briefly a au pair sort of nurse thing when my mother was ailing and stuff. So, and then she went up to Roseville and then passed away in April. So she was dementia clinic up there in April. So we have Tim wasn't there for that. He apparently Annie's mother passed away around the same time, so they had to do that instead. Obviously, but his wife. So there was other things going on that happened to interfere with. It would have been an earlier appearance, like in May, but it didn't happen. It would have coincided with Johnny's appearance. Didn't happen. Johnny is going to come back at some point in the next couple of months. So we're going to have a sequel to the Johnny review. He's going to do it again, do another one. And no, he does not know Bionic Dance, and I don't either, although Bionic Dance is a pretty area. I just thought I'd throw that out there. He doesn't know who that is. He's not even familiar with that channel. He could be, but he's not. He was familiar with the other one that was her friend, but then it's gone. So it doesn't matter. Tim was neither. Didn't mention it. So yeah, Tim's visit again was also about different Batmans and Jokers and Mark Hamill Joker in the animated one and some of the other Batmans. There was a lot of mention of Doctor Who and the Doctors. Not as familiar with that kind of thing. I did see the American one at his house back in the day when it aired when it aired in the basement. That was strange version of Doctor Who. Weird. Apparently everybody dislikes the Doctor Who with the blonde girl and likes the one with the sort of ethnic girl. I guess they sort of like those. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not familiar with the controversy. He seems a little right-winger, a little bit. But we're not. But everybody was cordial because we're all minions of the original cast of the Minions. But yes, the Minions meet as over 50 and middle-aged, and one of them with kid. Tim has an 8-year-old kid. There was a Disneyland ride and exhibition walkthrough tour. It was really expensive. The Legoland thing. It's a Legoland thing. So there's a ride and a tour. So, and he took the kid on it, and it was like $30. I was like, I don't want it to go on this kitty tours because, it's $30. But they could go on it. So they went on it, and but yeah, the Legoland thing, which brought up other park attractions. We talked quite a lot about Disneyland and Disney World and going to Disney World, Disneyland. He hadn't taken him to his son to Disneyland yet, but he would have to get one of those kid leashes. But yes, but wrangle him in, because he was wearing a cowboy hat, doing the Clint Cowpoke thing. Man, they were rustling going around here. I would have said, I brought my cowboy hat too, if I'd known we was going to wear hats. As it stands, we weren't wearing hats. Looked like computer guys from that got kicked out of Google back in the day or something. Well, as it turns out, indirectly. Tim had once been a security guard at a place, knew a guy that worked at one of the IBMs that went under, or Hewlett Packard. It was a Hewlett Packard subsidiary that went under because they got in trouble for embezzlement and crime and stuff. And he wasn't involved in any of that. He was a security guy. But he's like, oh, the Hewlett Packard place went under. And yeah, they ended up somewhere else. So somebody he knew, I guess. But he was never at at that place. He just knew somebody. Anyway, so there's that. And it wasn't somebody Marx Cards was familiar with either. So. There wasn't any video of it because there wasn't really, printed for a video. And what's funny is in this picture, it looks like there's a guy in the very background staring at my ass. But I do have a nice bum. He isn't really. It's probably that his kid is standing just out of shot behind me, he's looking down at them. Because there's another kid next to him. And I'm guessing that he's looking at them, but the way it looks like he's like, trying to gauge whether I've got a nice bum. No, he's not. But it'd be funny. Tim was a little homophobic about He-Man, but then again, He-Man was very gay. But yes. Our Disneyland anniversary was joked about. That we should go back for the 10th anniversary in 2025. So, yeah, we should. I say after the get together, we should have said, oh yeah, we have a trans kid, but didn't bring him. Just kidding. Just didn't bring him. Maybe next time. Just kidding. We don't have a trans kid. That'd be funny, but no. Oh my. But yes. Wouldn't be you. It'd be like, oh my. But yeah. So we have characters doing, goofy minion stuff. We talked about Jim Buffkin, who we have not seen in a while and can't find anything on. Near as I can tell from looking up various jail records around the area, there's only one or two other Jim Buffkins out there that it could be. There's a guy in the Carolinas that apparently got busted for walking around with pants on. Hopefully that's not him. They moved out of their house in Conestoga Way in 2021. Him and his mother. His mother was elderly, Louise Buffkin. She's not dead. They moved out. They moved to SoCal. Did they move out of state? We don't know. Andrea Buffkin, the sister, is not answering any kind of calls. He doesn't seem to have a phone anymore. He's probably locked up somewhere, but we don't know where. Yes, we reminisced on various Jim stories, such as Jim Ticon's propensity to hyperactive Klingon guy. His propensity to imagine that he was getting a hookup. And at one point he said this in front of Angie that he had a hookup. And Angie, the leader of the Minions, the girl leader in the Minions, was like, no, that really did not happen. We never hooked up, no. Anyway, that really didn't happen. So there was he would have a tendency to go to the mall and imagine that girls were looking at him hot, and when they looked at him not hot, then he got mad. Weird. He's a little bit cuckoo. But it's Jim Ticon. So we haven't seen him since 2017. Jim Ticon. We did mention the Libby story. A lot of the kid's Libby that we'd encountered, who I had seen last in 2012. It turns out about 22 years ago as well. 12 years ago as well. She was at a gathering of local people that knew someone else from our church, just happened to be there. Oh, I'm Chris McClain. Hi. What? So that was funny. Well, that was different. Also, at one point, Tim mentioned a story where he encountered one of our original cast members, Chuck McCain, just recently, a couple of years ago, saw him at an event, a store or something. He just walked up to him. Oh, hey, Chuck, what up? So yeah, we were mentioning that Jim Ticon had thought that Chuck died, and that was back in 2005, and I mentioned that, and I found him on MySpace, and he says, I'm very much alive. Not dead yet. Oh, but yeah, so he's still alive up till 2024. So he's still around. So he's still around. He survived the pandemic. Tim has had his pandemic shots. I think we did too as well. But yeah, so probably because he has diabetes, so he kind of has to have his shots, otherwise he would die. Also, they would have gone on longer than 4 o'clock, but he didn't have his particular shot and had to go back, get it, and have it with him. Well, that shot particularly. But yes, so yeah, we had to end the event at about 4 something. So we walked around the mall a bunch of times and went to different things. Even though one of his feet is messed up, he managed to go further along than we did walking around, so he was okay with it. So yeah, there was yeah. Well, Annie and the kid went on the ride. Yeah, he was all right. It was fine. He wasn't any more out. Yeah, it wasn't any more hyper than any other kid that's 8. I think they kind of are like that. They generally. It was interesting to him more so that Jon had a contract job where he does. He's had it for over 20 years, where he goes out to these different clean room places and checks their equipment and makes sure it's working. Also interesting that I volunteer at the church and the kids group and stuff. Can't say where, because then the kids group would be like, "Hey, man," because you're not supposed to like air footage of that or something. So we won't say where, but you know where it is. If you're in SAP Productions at all, you know where it is. You can find it. Yeah, like those Halloween videos where we had to take the outside of the building out of the shots and repost them with the outside of the building taken out, which made them less interesting. Yeah. They aren't your kids, you can't film them. See? Even though it was completely innocent, but just to make sure, you know. But yeah, there's yeah, not like that. It's odd. X-Men. That's an X-Men. That looks like an X-Men screen graph thing of one of the early comics from the 70s. It's not number 1. It's like number 11. Interesting. Screen capture for comic book number 11. No. I don't know the significance of number 11. Probably should. He bought an Alpha Flight comic at Legends. We went into Legend. As Marx Cards was mentioning that there was a comic book shop by his house that existed at some point about 10 years ago or so that would also do gaming and puzzles and set up a board in the back. Kind of like how Sheldon's Hobbies stayed in business for a while after it moved. It's gone now. Sheldon's Hobbies, which funded all of our balsa wood constructions. We bought the balsa wood there. They weren't a sponsor. We bought the balsa wood back in the day. And they had something like that in their newer facility. But it turns out Legends Comics, which moved from Valco, and then Eastridge moved out here. So it's here. And they do that. They have a board thing in the background. Today they didn't. They didn't have the board out. They moved it over. And they had just the tables up. But they can put the board over there and do gaming, which is kind of what Marx Cards was describing. They can totally do that in there. And that's how they keep the kids coming in, because they do some tabletop games in the background. Because how else would you keep a comic book game store going nowadays? Have a variety of different things going on. Go do things. Yeah. So I'm not involved in Legends Comics. This is not a sponsor. It's not like there's anything like that. No. If Space Cat was still around, that would be a sponsor, but they're not. The last of the Space Cat guys is the Horror Geek, who is now in Florida, or somewhere near Florida. But he was originally the guy from the Space Cat. So there's other cats out there. Also, we were in the comic shop. We had to go in one of the shops. We happened by a bobblehead. I think in the GameStop, the bobblehead of Hello Kitty, and the masked, hoodied Kitty Key. There he was, right there. There he was. It's Kitty Key. Oh, there's the tuxedo cat. It's Kitty Key. So that there he was. There he was in the mall. His little figurine. But yes, so Kitty Key was present. But yes, didn't talk much about the cult. I didn't really bring it up too much, no. Brought it up with Marx Cards, too. Too much of that. Tim remembered the Jung Swan thing, though. He mentioned that he remembered that testing from 1991 where they nearly killed 3 of the students with falling lights and breaking things and someone smashing their head, the board and all that. He remembered that. He's like, oh, this isn't going to go well. Oh, shit. It was kind of like Jackass. Weird testing. It's very hyper. We stayed up all night that night. All night. Till the morning. It was the second time that had happened since the great leaving of the other, the earliest minions. And not the minions like in Illumination, the minions of Angie Tyson. It's the only minions thing. I think the Gary's downstairs going, minions? Why do they call them minions? Like, well, that's just what we called it to make our sci-fi Transformer group sound more awesome. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. And he's a Baptist from, it's a joke. That's as avant-garde as he gets. The Minions. We'll call it the Minions. Ooh, I mentioned Greg Cards as Scott. Some of the other characters from Pine Hill, Amy. And Scott's tired. Yeah, you let it. Yeah. Scott's bike, we messed with it. I just let the air out of his tire. He could have gone right over to the gas station and filled it back up, which he did. I didn't hurt the tire. I just deflated it. Just let the air out. Just go over to the gas station, fill it back up. Back when I was in Pine Hill. What was I, 16? 17? Baby? I don't know. But yeah. I mentioned other stories, which we're not going to go into, that have nothing to do with Tim. Well, there was the one about Greg, and there was the one about Tim was going to bash this bully kid, but he realized the bully kid was a wuss, so he didn't. He said, "Oh, you can take him." He'll say, "Oh, Greg, you touch him, I'll touch you." And he's like, "Okay, I'm not going to touch him." But later on, a girl kicked his butt, so there you go. Of course, that's Tim put it on in that particular story, reminiscing about it. Libby McClanahan was a deadly little kid, a deadly teenager. She would have kicked his ass, not just his ball. She would have killed him. She was the twin sister of Chris that I mentioned earlier. They were both like Klingons, let's say. Yes, just to be PC, they were like Klingons. Anyway, so we have the art lady story years ago, but that wasn't really brought up too much, except that he went on to do other things. So like the art lady didn't know what she's talking about. That's all. But there's I remember the Yvonne Craig story from. Well, she passed. Or Yvonne Craig passed away, but that was that thing. Yeah, so. Other thing. Someone's knocking at the door. Anyway, done with the review, so find out what it is. So I have no idea what that was about. And so I'm back. Don't get diabetes. Don't do that. If you can avoid it. So other stuff. Security guy and tech guy and YouTuber. Functionally retired YouTuber. But my channel's still around, so. I keep saying you. Said that kids with special needs, but so am I. Also special needs, because that means that we're all technically, we're all from Pine Hill. So he got to go see the other Pine Hill. Apparently there is a version of Pine Hill that still exists. Oh, they've torn down Valco, incidentally. It's completely gone. And it was practically dead for 10 years, 15 years even. I'm surprised it wasn't dead after 2011 or so. It was pretty bad. during Job Club, it was 2013. It was pretty bad. So yeah, they go to Westgate. They're near that. There's yeah, I'm assuming he goes to Pine Hill, the kid version of it. That would be on the other side. We won't say what that is. Either it's a school. Why would we say that? But yeah, there'd be no reason to mention where the elementary school is. It'd be a little weird. But yeah, the yeah. So that's. So yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, yeah, he's conservative, unfortunately. No. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, we're not. Talked about we joked about how like the Palpatine line doesn't make any sense in Star Wars, and that the only way it works is that the midichlorians didn't make Anakin. Oh, no, I was saying this. Midichlorians didn't make Anakin. Palpatine did Anakin. Yeah, that's that. He went over to found Shimi and had her. That's the only thing. And then the whole line is Palpatine, and then it becomes even more diluted. So it doesn't make any sense that she's a Palpatine, Rey, later on, because she would be like, "Oh, so what? You're a Palpatine, whatever." It makes it more diluted that way. See? And yeah, he liked the idea of Jar Jar Binks being the puppet master behind Palpatine's puppet, which falls over. Some funny lines in there. You know. We did go into Spencer Gifts, and we saw the things in Spencer Gifts in the back. The things that the hyper conservatives think are just out in the open in a given CVS, which are not. They don't have those things at a CVS. Yeah, dildos and vibrators, and so yeah, so they had those back there, but they were kind of cheap. Yeah. And lava lamps. Marx Cards always said, I wanted a lava lamp when I was a kid, but not now. Yeah. Of course, that was the 80s, so he's probably thinking, I want a lava lamp. That'd be cool. I never really cared for those things. But now he could buy one. Now he doesn't want one. Some funny avant-garde shirts and things that you never could wear in public anywhere. Anyway. Some of the things went to GameStop looking for a charger thing. There was a... Yeah. That's it, you know, so, so, didn't find it. He store and had it. Just looking for a game charger. He tried to get one online. Or a I don't know, PS2. PlayStation 2, I'm assuming that's what he means. Yeah. So yeah, the whole, thing. It's yeah. We might do another one of these for the next toy show. Bringing it back to the cast, at least for consulting the new series and all that. We did not discuss the new series, so. But he figured there's got to be something going on. Because you're a YouTuber, got to be something going on, right? So we'll see. I'm not going to do a voice, obviously. Probably can't go upstairs. No, nothing like that. Yeah, 12 years ago, I made it sound like, oh, he's in Space Bridge. Not technically, it wasn't. I think he had did he even have a line in there? I mean, there was a guy that kind of sounded like him. There was Lunk, but it probably, I don't think that actually was him. If it was like for one scene. And then he left, and then I just imitated his voice. You can kind of tell. The Power Matrix, or something. Yeah, I think all of his only line in there is the part where he goes, "With the fog of war," that was his only line. Fog of war, we did everything to escape. I think that was his line. The rest of the time, Lump was on there with me. The fog of war. Ooh. But yeah, yeah. That was the line. Yep. Was there even kind of a script for that? Or was he just making stuff? Were we making stuff? Pretty much we were making stuff up. That really didn't have much of a script. you could kind of tell. Our later stuff, we were borrowing scripts from All Transformer Smash. We didn't discuss that, or the artwork ideas and stuff. It's kind of an interesting and strange irony that if Crazy Art Lady was still around in 2024, walking around, yeah, I could say like, well, this mall right here, the mall, even though he didn't physically build any of the art in here, it kind of looks like the stuff he was doing. So he's ahead of his time. The floor, the carpets, the walls, those weird disc things in the air, in the food court. Yeah, all that stuff he would have done. So yeah, he didn't realize it, but he was ahead of his time. Exactly. Sort of pseudo-industrial mall changed over from a Ford plant. They wouldn't even have dreamed of doing that in 1990. But by 1994, when the mall opened, it is the 30th anniversary of the Great Mall. So, to the Great Mall. Yeah, this was not sponsored by the Great Mall at all, but so there you go. I guess that's sort of the review. It's sort of all over the place. It was more about Star Wars and things like that. Companies, and there wasn't a whole lot of, this is what I'm actually doing, Tim stuff. It was more like, this is things we're talking to you and through you and about other stuff. Because it doesn't really go into too much detail that really, I mean, there was talking, but it was not, there wasn't a thread there. The ADHD kind of, it's all over the place kind of thing going on. So, but yeah, it was cool. It was a good visit thing. Hope to do it again with the toy show and a couple of them. We couldn't do the one last week, obviously, but next one, we'll do the next one. Make it a point to go to the next one and have more of these episodes with them in the cast. Yes. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to go now, and